You may have considered buying a home in 2023 or maybe in the general near future. And today I want to share a story with you about a recent experience that a home buyer that worked with our real estate team, well, let's just say it went wrong. Not only did it go wrong, but unfortunately for them, it also cost them a bucket of money. But if you think that's the worst thing that happened to them, think again. The last piece I'm going to share with you in this story left them absolutely devastated. I'm going to make sure you come out of today's video knowing exactly how to avoid what happened to these home buyers at all costs so that you're going to have the knowledge to help prevent this from happening to you when you go to buy your home. And you're definitely going to want to make sure that you stick around to the end because I'm going to let you know what eventually happened to this would-be home buyer. So every single day of every single week of every single month of every single year, the German Group helps people buy and sell homes. This is what we do. And I have been successfully helping people do this since 2007. I've been in the industry a long time and seen lots and lots of transactions. Sometimes we do get people that we work with, however, that don't always take our advice necessarily. And that's okay. That doesn't necessarily mean that every time we say something it's gospel and it's right every time. But of course, we give this information based on all of the experience of working with hundreds and hundreds of home buyers and home sellers throughout the years. With that being said, sometimes people just need to learn on their own and go through the process to see exactly what happens. Only then do they sometimes maybe realize in hindsight, they should have maybe taken our advice. So this is all about one of the absolute biggest mistakes that we see people do when they go out to buy a home. Let me tell you a little story. Andy and Kelly set out to buy their dream home. Andy and Kelly aren't their real names, by the way. We've changed the names to protect the innocent. They have been saving their money diligently. They have been scrounging to put together a down payment, and they have been looking for this new dream home of theirs for almost 1 full year, which is an incredible amount of time to be looking for a property. But they were very specific in what they wanted, and they wanted to make sure that they got it the first time around. In the current marketplace right now, we've seen prices come down a ton since the peak of the market in March of 2022. However, in the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks, the market has definitely picked up with some life. We're seeing prices start to go up in many areas. We're hearing stories about many people going into multiple offers on their homes. And in fact, we're experiencing this with our own listings as well. Perhaps the Bank of Canada announcing that they were going to pause raising interest rates, or the fact that home buyers have mostly been sidelined for a year. Who knows what's driving it, but the market has definitely been picking up and it's likely going to continue. So you've got all these home buyers that were waiting for the bottom of the market, and then boom, the market just absolutely picks up and has a life again. So Andy and Kelly find the perfect house. It is absolutely amazing in every single way and is more than they ever could have imagined. It's just perfect. It is about 5,000 square feet. It is on the side of a mountain overlooking the beautiful Fraser Valley with a southern view. Imagine the views and the sunsets from this place. It was also renovated. It was in incredible condition. Everything was taken care of in this home, and it had a 1-bedroom basement suite plus a nanny suite that they could either have adult children occupy or maybe even rent out to someone else. It was unbelievable. So we wrote an offer on it. Everybody was really excited. We negotiated like crazy to get this property, which at the time was relatively tough to do. There was lots of people vying for this home, and we just happened to get lucky by being there on the right day before other people came with their claws out trying to get it. Not only that, but we helped save our clients $25,000 off the price they were originally prepared to pay just through some simple strategy. But that's for another video. So the offer's accepted, and it's time to go into the due diligence period. Andy and Kelly have bought a home before. They've bought a few homes before. This isn't new to them. So they know that we're going to do some homework. Like, we're going to get the property inspected. We need to send the deal to the bank. We're going to do various things with city at City Hall. And there's lots of paperwork that we need to do in regard that we need to really check out the home properly. Time starts to move forward in the process. We've got about 7 days to do all of our due diligence, and we start booking the home inspection, and the home inspection happens and everything turns out great. The deal is sent to the bank, and we follow up to make sure an appraisal is booked, and it's going to be coming as soon as possible. And we've already been to City Hall to do a lot of the due diligence. So time keeps moving forward. Everything checks out in the home inspection. The home is in great shape. It's been well taken care of. And it's an older home. Of course, there's a few little things, but really nothing that's going to scare anybody away. Andy and Kelly are ecstatic. They are so excited because there's only one piece of the puzzle left, and that is just to get the financing. After we followed up with the bank to make sure that the appraiser was being sent, the appraiser was contacted on a Wednesday. They came out on the Thursday to take a look at the property, and we needed to get an answer by Friday because subject removal was scheduled for Saturday. And we all know that the banks aren't doing mortgages likely on a Saturday. So the appraiser goes in and they do the appraisal and send it into the bank. In fact, they even connect with the client to let them know that the appraisal came back perfectly and it was submitted to the bank. They would have it within lots of time to get it all done on the Friday afternoon. So we're sitting there watching the clock on Friday, waiting for the good news for the bank to come in. And we're just listening to the clock go tick, tick, tick. The day is beginning to expire, and we haven't heard from the mortgage professional from this particular bank. Even after placing multiple phone calls and text messages, just even trying to get a simple update on the process. But it's going nowhere. Nobody's answering, nobody's returning calls. So we start troubleshooting. We're getting a little worried because look, the day is almost over. We don't have a lot of time to confirm that this is going to be done for Friday. So we want to troubleshoot, and we work to extend the conditions so they don't need to be removed on the Saturday. They can be removed on Monday, the next business day, just in case the bank can't get it done. And unfortunately,
they don't.
We get word late on Friday, well after the bank hours are over, that the financing has not yet been approved, and we're told that the appraisal hasn't been approved yet. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we know the appraisal came in for the proper amount, so we're just sitting there thinking we're waiting for a rubber stamp to be put on this. So we communicate that with the other real estate professional who's representing the sellers and say, look, can you please just spare us one more business day till the end of day Monday so the bank can look at the paperwork appropriately and we can go ahead and everybody can move forward on this beautiful home. No problem, she says. They're happy to help out. They are fully aware of all the energy, effort, and money that's been spent on this home to try and make the deal work. So let's go ahead and let's extend it for one day. So Monday comes and it's kind of the same as Friday. The morning goes by and we don't hear anything. So we reach out to this mortgage professional with no return phone call, no return text. The afternoon goes by. We reach out to the mortgage professional again with no return phone call, no return text. At this point, the client has also reached out multiple times and hasn't heard a thing. It's now 4 o'clock on Monday afternoon and we still haven't heard from anybody. So naturally, the home buyers are starting to get a little bit worried. They are texting us and calling us saying how disappointed they are in the process only due to the fact that this mortgage professional is not returning phone calls or giving anybody an idea of what's going on or what might the problems be. 5:30 that afternoon eventually rolls around and the bank has already likely been closed for at least half an hour at this point. And it's not a phone call that comes in. It's not a text that comes in. It's an email that says your mortgage has been declined. Andy and Kelly are devastated. They are heartbroken. They are frustrated and they are disheartened. But not only that, they're also out almost $1,200 in this process so far, with their hearts hanging from their sleeves and feeling terrible about what the sellers have had to go through with the ups and downs of waiting for them to get their mortgage. They decide to let the home go. Now, I'm going to let you know what happened in the end, but I want to pause here in the story to really hammer home an incredibly important point, and the one that this whole video revolves around. And that is the importance of having an incredibly strong mortgage professional on your team. The mortgage professional that you choose to bring onto your team when you buy a home can absolutely make or break your ability to secure that property. And as you can imagine, not all mortgage professionals are created the same. There is 3 different tiers of a mortgage professional. In fact, I've done a video on this previously that I'm going to link below that I really want you to check out because it is so incredibly valuable, especially if you're buying a home. But really, here's the 3 options. You can choose to go directly to the bank to get your mortgage. You can choose to have a mobile mortgage specialist help you, or you can choose to have an independent mortgage broker who works for a mortgage brokering company. Andy and Kelly decided to go directly to the bank. And here's where the problem lies with that. I want you to think of the nature of a bank employee for a moment and consider how this might affect somebody looking to buy a home in an incredibly busy marketplace. Bank employees are paid by the hour. The difference with being paid by the hour versus being paid on, let's say, commission sales is that they don't really lose anything when a client doesn't get a mortgage because they're compensated hourly. Whereas somebody like a mortgage broker or a mobile mortgage specialist, who is really an extension of a particular bank, typically, they're only going to get compensated if they can secure the deal for the client. This also means things like they're going to work to get the best rates for them and deliver incredible service because they want you to introduce them to your friends and family. That's how they get their business. I also want you to consider that bank employees are probably pretty overworked. They have clients coming in through the door every day, all day. They have phone calls coming in every day, all day, and they're getting emails in every day, all day. They're also typically not specialists. They're maybe more of a generalist. So they don't have a lot of time to pay a lot of detailed attention to one particular client because they are so overworked. And the last part that I want you to consider is client retention. The bank fills up the schedules for the mortgage providers that work in branch. And you probably wouldn't be surprised to know that their client turnover is huge. This just means that people are always out there shopping for the very best mortgage, and they may or may not be overly loyal to the bank or branch that they have engaged to get that information from. This means that they sometimes can maybe mail it in a little bit. They don't do all the steps necessary to properly pre-qualify a person to buy a home because they're not sure if they're ever going to see them again. Where the problem lies with this is when it comes time to present an accepted offer to the bank. This typically means that they are scrambling behind the scenes to collect further documentation on a client that should have already been collected, and they're also possibly uncovering issues with that client's file that they would have seen earlier and could have dealt with earlier had they have been better prepared and more organized by collecting all the documentation and really doing their job properly from the start. If you're following along with where this story is going directly to the bank or a branch to get a mortgage is a huge no-no. Of course, this doesn't mean that everybody that works at a bank branch is not going to do a good job for a client. Of course, that's not the case. But what I will let you know is in my 16 years of selling real estate, when I have a client go directly to the bank to get a mortgage, typically 50% of the time, they will not get the lending. The bank will absolutely drop the ball on them, and you can't even get a phone call back to explain why. Again, if you want to learn more about the differences between going directly to the bank versus a mobile mortgage specialist or a mortgage broker, make sure you check out this video above, which is also linked in the description. I want you to take a moment for a second and also think about how this might affect a home buyer in a busy market where there's other home buyers out there with their teeth out and their claws out, just waiting to grab and bite on to absolutely any property that becomes available, especially when the listings are in short supply. Of course, this means that the buyer number one could lose the property and they might not get another shot at it. They might not get the opportunity to extend their conditions. This means the house is gone and they are now back to the drawing board. If we end up in a market like we were in 2021 and 2022, this also means because of the lack of supply, those home buyers are now paying more for a similar home because they didn't secure one earlier. This is why the mortgage broker is such an incredibly huge part of your team, and you need to make sure that they are an absolute rock star because they will make or break your sale. So what happened to Andy and Kelly? Well, I regret to say they lost the house. They didn't get it. And actually, in fact, that house went into a multiple offer the following day, and the buyers that bought it for significantly more money than what Andy and Kelly originally had an accepted offer on it. The bank provider that helped Andy and Kelly, well, I can't speak for them, but it certainly doesn't look good for them in the fact that they're not going to be getting to work with Andy and Kelly anymore moving forward because they didn't do them any favors. Not only did they cost them a bucket of money from allowing them to do the home inspection when they didn't have all their financial affairs in order, but they also had to pay for an appraisal on the property, which was sent by the bank when they were not even sure whether these buyers were financially able to purchase a home of this price. Losing the $1,200 was painful, but losing the house that they searched for a year, that they envisioned their family growing up and getting older together in the neighborhood of their dreams, was even worse. So there's my story for you today. And I really hope you took something away from this video. And I'm really curious, what did you take away from this video? Is there a better way of getting financing that everybody should consider? What would you do if you were in this scenario, and how would you play it? Leave your comments below and let me know. And while you're down there, if you are someone that is lost or unsure about the home buying process and what the next steps are, be sure to grab a spot in our calendar and get a complimentary 15-minute discovery call to see how we can help you. Plus exclusive access to our Mortgage Secrets video, which you're not going to find anywhere else. Hey, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for subscribing to this channel. And I want to thank you for rooting for Andy and Kelly as we help them find a new home with a new, more qualified mortgage professional. We'll get them something good, and we can all learn from their mistakes. See you on the next video.